The biological theories of aging.
Within our presentation, we will be discussing a brief introduction on biological aging, the theories, and a conclusion. Biological aging could be said to begin at conception or from the age of 30 when physiological decline becomes more apparent. There are several theories of biological aging which fit into two categories. The wear and tear theory. The wear and tear theory is a non-genetic theory which was first suggested by Weismann in 1882. Weismann argued that aging takes place because somatic cells cannot renew themselves, and so living things succumb to the wear and tear of existence. It is believed that the effects of aging are caused by damage done to the cells and body systems over time. Essentially, these systems wear out due to use. Once they wear out, they can no longer function correctly. A range of things can damage body systems, such as exposure to radiation, toxins, and ultraviolet light can damage our genes. The effects of our body's own functioning can also cause damage. When the body metabolizes oxygen, free radicals are produced that can cause damage to the cells and tissues. Damage-based theories all speculate that the initial damage moves from the molecular level outward to the tissues and organs of the body, eventually taking the form of degenerative diseases such as heart disease, cancer, diabetes, arthritis, senile dementia, Alzheimer's disease, and other life-ending processes. But the most widely accepted structural damage theory, and the one theory that encompasses all of the previous theories, is the free radical theory of aging. The wear and tear theory is a good explanation for some aspects of aging. For example, the fact that joints in our hips, fingers, and knees tend to become damaged over the course of time. A case in point is the disease of osteoarthritis, in which the degeneration of cartilage and eventual grinding of bone on bone is an example of the aging process on body's joints, as the wear and tear exceed the body's ability to repair. The second is cataracts, in which degeneration causes vision loss, and our heart beats several billion times over a lifetime, so with advancing age, the elasticity of blood vessels gradually weakens, causing normal blood pressure to rise and athletic performance to decline. There's not much evidence, whilst the theory makes some sense if you think of the body as a machine. It doesn't really work when you realise the capacity of the body to repair damage. Of course, not all damage can be repaired fully, and mistakes in repairs may accumulate over time. A more likely explanation is that the decrease of functioning is seen as tear in the wear and tear theory is really the result, not the cause of aging.
Like the effects of wear and tear, the action of free radicals contributes to physical aging, showing physical effects to the body. Dr. Denham Harman in 1956 formally proposed during aerobic respiration being the cause of cumulative oxidative damage, resulting in aging and even death. Free radical is also known as oxidative stress theory by Sahar and Weindruch in 1996, and it also comes under programmed aging theories. The oxidative stress causes cellular damage caused by free radicals produced during normal aerobic respiration. Harman in 1976 also suggested the free radical theory of aging can determine lifespan by the rate of oxidative damage to the mitochondrial DNA. However, Balaban and others in 2005 provided confirmation that free radicals were generated in vivo during mitochondrial electronic transport. Vivo, by auto-oxidation and by a number of physiological processes. Free radicals are molecules of the ionized oxygen, which is an extra electron. Well, what does all this mean, you ask? Well, a normal atomic structure has an equal number of electrons and protons, which suggests the net charge should be zero on an atom. However, free radical is when an atom gains a positive charge by losing an electron, which results in a net positive charge, also known as free radical. Free radicals are highly reactive forklift molecules that can damage any molecule inside our body, such as proteins, fats, DNA, which is our genetic material. Free radical damage leads to the generation of even more free radicals, which suggests a sort of chain reaction which causes further damage. This is an image of a phospholipid bilayer, which is non-injured, therefore it's stable, and it has phospholipids and hydrophilic lipids. And as you can see, these are nicely lined up. However, for a free radical pathology, it causes the lipid membrane to get chopped up, which is lipid peroxidation, caused by oxidative stress. And these oxidated products build up in the body and cause various diseases, such as cancer, heart disease, diabetes, and osteoporosis. Free radicals destroys the collagen and elastane in our skin. And sorry guys, you can't escape this, as sun, pollution, air, exposure to toxic chemicals, exercise, all create radicals in our body. And the free radical generator in the epidermis gene controls its activity, which increases as we age. So to conclude, the hypothesis I have covered of aging is that it's caused by accumulation of irreplaceable free radical damage, which is a rusting effect of the cell. I will now show you an example with an apple, the effects of free radical damage.
The somatic mutation theory of aging is one of the several well-developed theories that attempt to explain why human beings age. The somatic theory of aging flourished from the 1950s to the 1960s. This theory states that an important part of aging is determined by what happens to our genes after we inherit them. The somatic mutation theory states that random changes to the DNA of your cells can cause your cells and eventually your body to stop functioning correctly.
Throughout your lifetime, your body is constantly creating new cells. Every time one of your cells divides to create two new cells, there is a possibility that the DNA from the first cell will be copied incorrectly. This results in a mutation, a change in the copy of your DNA contained by the new cells. Mutations can also be caused by exposure to specific chemicals or radiation.
The body can correct or destroy most of the mutations, but not all of them. Eventually, the mutated cells accumulate, copy themselves, and cause problems in the body's functioning related to aging.
All of the cells in your body are considered somatic cells, with the exception of your reproductive cells. The mutations occurring in cells other than your reproductive cells are therefore referred to as somatic mutations. These mutations will not be passed on to your children since they are not found in your reproductive cells. They do, however, accumulate in your cells as you get older. Eventually, many of your cells have multiple mutations, and these mutations begin to impact the way your body functions, causing many of the problems associated with aging.
People tend to live longer today than they have lived historically. More of the aging process becomes visible. Wrinkles and lines are indicators that lower quality skin cells are being reproduced in higher quantities. Because the skin is exposed to more disruptive environmental factors than the internal organs, it shows the effects of the somatic mutation sooner.
As people live beyond 90 and 100 years, more of them die from multiple organ failure due to aging. The lungs, heart, liver, kidneys, muscles, and every other organ suffers from the effects of long-term somatic mutation. Just as the skin sags and wrinkles, the other organs have their way of showing the loss of function from aging.
Weakness in one area can accelerate the somatic mutation process in other organs. Weak lungs put pressure on the heart. This causes an aging heart to attempt to build itself bigger and stronger, and in doing so, it produces more mutated cells. The same scenario can play out throughout the body until the mutations in the body make survival impossible.
Programmed theories of aging states that life expectancy is predetermined and timed for individual species, with cells programmed to divide a certain number of times. Hayflick and Moorhead in 1961 raised the possibility of the human body having an inherited internal biological clock that determines the beginning of the aging process and eventually of death. This suggests that the process of aging is genetically regulated. The biological clock may present as a predetermined or limited number of cell divisions called the Hayflick limit. Hayflick and Moorhead in 1961 also proposed that connective tissue cells maintained in tissue cultures were able to divide approximately 50 times before deteriorating. They put forward that this is a form of programmed aging at the cellular level. The programmed theory has three subcategories. The first one is programmed longevity, whereby aging is a result of a sequential switching on and off of certain genes, with senescence being defined as the time when age-associated deficits are manifested. The second subcategory of programmed aging is endocrine theory, where biological clocks act through hormones to control the pace of aging. Recent studies confirm that aging is hormonally regulated and that insulin plays a key role in the hormonal regulation of aging. The third subcategory is immunological theory. The immune system is programmed to decline over time, which leads to an increased vulnerability to infectious disease, so aging and death. As we grow older, antibodies lose their effectiveness and fewer new diseases can be combated effectively by the body, which causes cellular stress and eventual death. The biological clock may explain why certain living organisms die after a similar amount of years. For example, the lifespan of a human on average is usually around 80 years old. We can also apply this idea to other living organisms that tend to live or survive for similar amounts of years to one another. For example, a horse's expected maximum lifespan is usually around 35 to 40 years. For a cat, it is on average 25 years. For certain types of trees, it can be as long as 100 years, and for some insects, such as a dragonfly, have a lifespan for as little as 24 hours. The program theory does not necessarily explain aging as a slow loss of body functions. In fact, there are many organisms that die at the peak of their physiological abilities. A wide range of plant species, for example, dies shortly after flowering, and there are thousands of animal species, among them insects, worms, and fish, where death occurs immediately after reproduction, or even sooner after successful copulation. For some human beings, there is the idea that they have died in their sleep, with absence of any known illnesses. There are large variations in lifespan between different species, but within a species, the potential lifespan is relatively constant.
To conclude, in relation to the genetic and non-genetic theories of aging, no one theory has yet been conclusively proven. Current theories appear to be the most reliable, with research and laboratory evidence accumulating. Each current theory has considerable supporting evidence, unlike some earlier theories.